Hey, we have such great conversations when OBG70, Zax, and I do live streams and have special guests. Not everybody wants to sit through almost 4 hours of live streams, so I'm picking out some really great parts to share in snack-sized bites.
You know what? I've watched the trailer several times and I'm still trying to figure out what the hell it is I'm seeing, because it's jump cut, jump cut, jump cut. It's like character. Whereas, if you think of the Peter Jackson films, there were sweeping panoramic views. You got a good idea of what to expect. But this was just for a trailer that was a minute long, that was shown at the Super Bowl. They really seem to have slapped it together. And one of the criticisms that I've seen is it looks cheap, which I thought was hilarious.
Speaking of cheap-looking fantasy shows, did you ever watch The Wheel of Time, Purple?
I did not. People have recommended it to me. I say recommended it. They said
they are obviously not your friends.
Yes, but they did say read the books, so I am going to read the books. But
yes,
after I stopped thinking about what the hell those hobbits had on their backs, and why people thought that was a great idea in costume design. Beyond that, the trailer was it was a whole bowl full of the armor was not elven armor. It was all plate mail that you would expect men to wear, not elves.
Nathan, are you saying that elves who are small framed are masters of stealth, blending into the woodland, why wouldn't they be wearing heavy plate armor all over the place all the time? I'm confused. I don't know. Let me do this. We were just talking, and I posted this poll up before the stream started. So we have 41 votes on the poll. It asked the question, after all you've seen, heard on Lord of the Rings of Power, your position is, so number one was, I'm excited, it looks great. Guess what percentage of people said that? 0. I could not ask for better content for the show. Thank you, chat. So the second step was, it looks flashy, but I'm nervous. 5% of our chat says it looks flashy, but I'm nervous. So we got an optimist in there, which is always nice to see. The third step was, it looks mediocre, I'm indifferent, much like Nathan. That is 21% of our audience tonight. And the winner overwhelmingly is the final step, which is, this isn't Tolkien, I will hate watch. 74% of our chat tonight. Again, that's out of 42 votes now. Somebody tried to sneak one in on me and try and rig the poll. So it's still 0. People are still, no one is excited about it. But I mean, again, all of us can sit here and do ad hominem attacks, and we can say this looks stupid and this sucks and everything else like that. But I think kicking it out to the chat, who, as I have said many times, is usually much smarter than I am. I think all of us, when we saw this trailer, had a reaction that Amazon really didn't anticipate. I do think there is a small group of people that love it, and I love that for them. I wish I could be excited about the Lord of the Rings. That's all I want. I just want a good Lord of the Rings show.
Oh, no, I really wanted to like this. When this was first announced several years ago, I thought, okay, this is interesting. Let's see where they go with it. Amazon, at the time, had a pretty good track record with shows. I thought, all right, interesting. They've spent a hell of a lot of money to acquire the rights. So clearly they're going to be very careful with Tolkien's universe. No, no, that's not the case.
No, it seems like they bought it just to set it on fire and have you watch. That's what this feels like with what Bezos and Amazon are doing. And they're going to call you, you're a racist, you're a phobe, you're this, because you don't like watching something you love get burned to the ground.
Watching the teaser, one of the things that came to mind was what happened to Elrond's sideburns. He looks ridiculous.
It went the same way as the beards for the dwarves. Yeah.
That must be probably in the same spot.
This is a Canadian thing. You must have like really big Elvis mutton chops, like from the 70s. Like,
I certainly don't shave them up until above my ears. I don't do that.
Okay.
So like Elrond does apparently. So I was 100% meh after the trailer, and I watched it with my 17-year-old, and he's got a map of Middle Earth on his wall in his room. Read the books.
Wow.
We watch the movies every year. He likes to do that, but he's a normie otherwise. That's kind of his fandom, right? And he goes,
Mhm.
yeah, no. After that's it. He goes, and he calls me bro, which, it's not great, but he goes, bro,
There's a
who
lot
even are
worse
those?
names. There's a lot
Bro,
worse
who
names.
even are those people? And that's it. He doesn't care. Like, he doesn't know who they are. He says, I said, I think the girl's Galadriel, and he says, well, Galadriel doesn't wear armor, and that was the end of the conversation. So they didn't get the kids.
Wow.
At least this kid. They didn't get me. Who are they going to get with this? That's what I'm thinking.
Yes, again, it's this mythical audience that they keep chasing with all of these shows that they seem to think exists. But instead of trying to win over a new audience, what they should be doing, you think, would be appealing to the lifelong fans to, whatever it is, whether it's Star Trek, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, there is always an established fan base. We will
Yes.
support it.
Wheel of Time was the testing ground for them to wokeify and gender swap and put identity politics and political messaging and neo-Marxism into a fantasy property and see if people would watch it. It's just weird to watch what we saw on Wheel of Time on a small scale suddenly be back on the big screen with this huge budget with Tolkien it's the same damn thing. These are the same damn changes they made.
Yeah, pretty much. I think these companies are into intellectual property necrophilia. They want to kill it and then just absolutely fleece it for everything that they can get out of it, and it's difficult to watch. Just because these things, like you've mentioned, like we've all mentioned before, these are things that stories we love, that we've been amazingly entertained by, and that we've had some investment in, and they clearly show their hatred of the entire fan base because that's their only concern. They love the hate.
Do you think that's part of what's behind this and what's going on, or are we being reactive?
I think at this point, it's pretty clear. I mean, we had the trailer come out, and right as the trailer was coming out, we already had articles talking about blowback from the fans. So they preempted that they were going to get, a negative reaction from people who love this. And it hasn't just been with Lord of the Rings. I mean, look at the blowback that The Witcher has had as well recently, especially with the lead writer, back and forth on Twitter, arguing with people.
Mike, what is your sense having that deep Wheel of Time experience? What did you see with the Lord of the Rings?
It felt like second-rate Renaissance fair casting. Everything looked fake, everything looked dumb, and I felt like I was watching a Renaissance fair trailer. Please come visit us this fall. We're going to have our Renaissance fair. There'll be jousting. There'll be women in armor. A random assortment of locals dressed up as.
I want you to follow up with what you're saying. I'm setting you up here. Hold on. This is from someone who knows how to make the Lord of the Rings.
Casting for The Lord of the Rings was vital because it's one of the most beloved books of all time, and everybody that reads that book has a mental image of these people in their minds.
So there you go. Casting. Mike, you were just talking about that. That was Peter Jackson himself talking. So you are in good company, sir, with what you're saying. Was there a particular casting choice that you didn't like?
Well, after seeing what Peter Jackson did to Galadriel, or did for Galadriel, the grace, the beauty, she could just stand there and you just are in awe of her. Kate Blanchett just nailed that role. And I can't see any other Galadriel ever. She is Galadriel now. And I don't know who this woman is in the trailer, but I see no class, no dignity. I see no grace. I see no beauty. I see no whatever that sense of awe that you see when you watch Galadriel do her thing. I was talking to you a couple days ago about the scene in The Hobbit, even where she goes in to rescue Gandalf because Gandalf is completely incompetent, evidently, and she has to go save his ass. Just that scene. Just the power. I was just amazed. Okay, yes, that's that's Galadriel.
Brings up a question for me, Mike.
Yeah, go
If
ahead.
they had possibly written this show to where she wasn't this raging sea, supposedly, and the commander of the Northern armies, if they had,
Right.
and the raging sea,
I
that
know what
brings
you
up a whole
meant.
lot of other
I-
monthly issues.
I know. I can spell. I can spell. Yeah. Continue.
Sorry, I have kids I've got to spell things out for. But if they had written her with that same grace that Philippa Boyens and Peter Jackson wrote Galadriel in, that really Tolkien wrote her with, could this actress possibly pull that off? And the answer, I think, is, well, we don't know, because she's not going to be written that way. And that's what's unfortunate, because she might actually be a real good classic Galadriel.
I was going to say, hold on to that thought, because Nathan just perfectly set this up. And I wasn't trying to do this, and I'm going to drop this, but this is again coming from someone who knows how to make the Lord of the Rings.
The Middle Earth that Tolkien wrote about is not on another planet. It's a mythic prehistory of Europe.
So, boy, don't we all just sound phobic and istic and patriarchal by wanting things to resemble Middle Earth? And Nathan, I think what you said is very fair. Mike, you were going to continue, please. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I was going to say, acting is acting. You're doing what the director tells you to. You're doing what your character is written as. I don't know if this actress could have pulled it off. I would have to say, sure. We would have to see. Clean her up. Put her in something elegant. See if she can pull off that exuding, just the raw power, beauty, and don't mess with me, I'm Galadriel, that Cate Blanchett did. Could she do it? Well, not on Cate Blanchett's level, but I'd be willing to give it a chance. Just not the way that they showed in that trailer. I just don't see it.
As ever, this is Salty Texas C. I am Corey DB. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you've seen and heard, please hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you on board. That way you know, and we have things like live streams, which we are now going to be doing every Tuesday evening. Take care. I hope you're having a great 2022.